we ever
definitely.
had more donations, for
Okay.
sure, we would consider other routes.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. We will, it looks like we have both Martha Thurber and David Henry here for the Mohawk Trail Regional School Committee with our 6 o'clock appointment.
So we're here because if you will recall, last year at our town meeting, we had a giant number of pages that were related to regional agreement amendments to the regional agreement that would have changed the way we defined enrollment to be from children actually attending in the seats at our schools to foundation enrollment, which is the way the Department of Education uses for lots of things. We proposed that to all of the towns. It passed in 6 of the towns. The town of Plainfield would have had a special town meeting, and we feel very confident it would have passed there. But the town of Heath, right before they decided, the town of Heath voted no. So the question that we are now trying to determine is whether we want to bring this back again to all 8 towns. Heath has an objection because they feel like this is going to be punitive toward Heath because they have the most additional students. The difference is that it would count students who live in the town but choice to a different district as students of the town, because the state defines the town's responsibility as being to educate and to pay for the education of all the students who reside in the towns. And that's what they mean by foundation enrollment. We do not include in our calculation students who choice to a different district. So they feel like because they had the most who attend out of district now, because students who are now going to Hallmont, who used to be considered Mohawk Trail students when they were going under a tuition agreement between us and Hallmont as a result of closing the Heath School, those students are now choice and have come out of the Heath enrollment number. They have a significant number of students who go to Rowe, so those have never been included. They feel like they're going to be penalized more than any other district, any other town. We have made the argument that this is a matter of fairness. Buckland has fewest choice students out, and in essence, we're subsidizing, Heath. Anyway, so they feel like that was going to cost the town of Heath more money, and there's a big disagreement about how much money. They have a consultant person who has told them it's going to cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. We dispute that completely. But anyway, the bottom line is right now, if we had a vote today, I don't think it would be any different. They voted at a town meeting. They were the second town to vote. We asked them to have a special town meeting in October because we had all the other towns had either voted yes or were lined up to vote yes. And so it never came back to the citizens. The select board elected not to hold a special town meeting because of these concerns. So we as a school committee are trying to decide whether to bring this up again with, I don't know what, if we made our own case before the people of Heath, we might be able to convince them that the numbers that they're seeing are not correct. We'd have to do a considerable amount of work, I think, and which we're certainly willing to do, to try and meet with the town of Heath officials and try to make them, share our perspective, or at least to understand more about where they're coming from. At the same time, it's 17 pages in a town meeting warrant that most people didn't understand, and we can certainly explain again. We're trying to get a sense of where our towns feel like, should we do this again? Do we want to do this again? Or do we want to hold off. We were in the beginning stages of our sustainability project, that we're trying to look at all of our operations, our programs, our buildings, and try to determine what's the best way we can organize and run the district in a way that's going to be sustainable for us and financially, doable for the towns. At the end of that, in a year or so, we may end up proposing something that's entirely different that would require an entirely new regional agreement. So the question is, do you try to wait and do everything if there were to be changes? And, we don't know that today. Do you wait, or do you spend some time and effort now to try and get this through? Because it is essentially a matter of fairness. And I will tell you that your finance committee, Paula and Larry, think we should go ahead and do this again, and really try to work with Heath and get them to vote yes. So we're just here trying to get some assessment from you folks as to whether you think it's worth it. It's your town meeting warrant. It's very complicated to discuss and to explain to people what we're doing and why we're doing it. We did it last year successfully in Buckland and most towns. We can do that again, but we're just trying to. The school committee's kind of split between those who feel like, let's wait. It's a lot of time and energy that we're dealing with budget. We're dealing with the sustainability work. This is something that we want to add on top of it. And those who feel like this is the right thing to do, and we should be not giving up because one town said no. So we're here to kind of listen and take back what you folks think, because we're meeting about it again in a couple weeks.
Well, you are the school liaison,
Yeah.
so I will
I don't
defer to
know.
you first.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I honestly don't know if it would do any good with Heath, and that's not putting them down if everybody from Heath walking. It's just their minds are set. They already feel they've been taken. The school, they lost their school, which is a central part of everyone. First problems go back a few years when they were at Roe. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yep.
like they feel as though they're being just rolled over, I would say.
Right.
So I like the idea of having your sustainability study continue and using the information that you get. That's going to have solid information
Yep.
that maybe we'll be able to sell to Heath. They're not unreasonable people. It's right now, I think it's a little sore. That's all up there still, and I understand. So that's only my opinion, but
No, I agree too.
Yeah, as do I. I mean, it's, like you said, it's a lot of work. I agree that, the community should all be contributing their fair share.
definitely.
But, I mean, if it's something that you guys are looking at where there's a possibility it could change again anyways, is it worth putting all that time and effort into it, to try to push it through again?
Okay.
I guess my consensus would be, unless if you're getting a strong support from Heath, they're kind of the ones I think you need to get on board with it before even bothering bringing it back to the other towns. I think all the other towns are in support of it, and I think even, whether it were to come this year or next year, I think you're gonna still see all of the towns support it, except for Heath.
Right.
So, I think, personally, I think that's where you guys probably maybe need to put your effort into trying to explain that. And, if they were to say that, they're looking deeper into it and they're starting to come around on it, then, yeah, it'd probably be a time to go with it.
Okay.
But if they're gonna just outright refuse, then what's the sense in you guys putting all that work and effort behind it when you're already working on your sustainability
project and your budget, to try to bring this forward again at all these town meetings, that it's probably not gonna pass anyways.
Okay,
My thought on it,
yep, no, that's exactly what we're
Appreciate
here
it.
for.
you know,
It's
I mean,
bad, but it's.
yeah, I do agree. I think that, you know, I think that, you know, it's something that should definitely be getting pushed forward on, but I think we need to
Yeah.
push where the push needs to happen first.
Okay.
You know, to get them to see why.
Yeah,
Maybe it's gotta be explained better for them. I don't know.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I do know that the ongoing informational sessions that this Heath Select Board, is it the chair that is hosting those?
No, the consultant is hosting
Okay,
those,
the
yeah.
consultant is hosting. But at the request of the Heath Select Board.
It's not
Well,
clear to me who
okay.
requested what, but
So-
either way, yes.
So
Very ongoing.
And I know that members of our finance committee have been attending those meetings and that they have found them incredibly, I mean, Paula could practically write the book on this. She's been involved for so long at such a detailed level, and she's coming back with new information and better understanding. So I think that those meetings, if people are attending them, they do have, I would certainly encourage others that have questions and concerns, attend them, because I guess that's been a really useful tool, so.
I also think that there's been a lot of hard feelings between Heath and Roe. My sister taught up at the Roe School, and then when they said that they wouldn't accept any more Heath students,
Yep, it's all got lots of history.
Lots of history, yes.
Lots of history.
And you're
That's right.
having the biggest population and no representation. That was the backbreaker.
that's right.
And that's hard to get over. I think the sustainability study would be good because,
And then the
I hear it all
following
the
year,
time.
after they kicked them out, it was struck by lightning.
yeah.
Hmm.
But I think that sustainability study will, because there's lots of questions. Can we survive?
Yep,
Yeah, but let's get to the bottom line. Can we survive?
yeah,
Do we start taking apart the schools again, going back to what we need? Well, we need a teacher in every room. We need a principal. Maybe we don't need a lot of extra things we have. I'm just saying this out loud.
yeah, that's a fair,
We're gonna have to, and the sustainability study will help us
Yes, we hope so.
determine
We
that.
certainly hope so.
Yeah. I appreciate Paula because even though I do the school stuff, finance is not my thing, you know, because I was a school teacher, Martha. You never paid me enough.
always, always.
Maybe you should have been a math teacher.
I was a math teacher.
You'd understand it all.
Yeah,
Taught it all.
yeah.
Lynn was.
So that's, yep. So that would be my consensus is, you
Okay.
know, I would,
We will take that.
I would
back.
rather see you guys put more effort into the sustainability,
Yep.
you know,
are.
and, you know, you're gonna be able to have more heads going into that than trying to,
And you guys will be part of that. I mean,
Yeah.
the consultant is gonna be meeting with every select board, every finance committee, getting input from you, what you think the problems are, what you think the solutions might be, just,
Yeah.
so, I mean, one reason we chose this group is that they are totally committed to a community-wide effort to determine what's the best approach. Because at the end of the day, every community is gonna have to vote on whatever regional agreement or amendments or whatever that would formalize the recommendation and turn it into action. So we want as many people as possible to be participating in this from day one. So you'll hear from them.
Ms. Kelsey?
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Oh, my name is Karen Schaefer.
Thank you. And hello to the rest of you. My question, I guess, is to the board. I have been hearing on the street that he was aligned to send their children to Coleraine. And this is the elementary, correct?
Correct.
And most of Heath are either going to Rowe or to Chalmont. So is this part of the discussion, or is that a whole other issue that's not part of
That's,
this?
I mean, that exacerbates the issue, because the reason that a lot of the Heath Elementary students still go to Holloman is because they
Correct.
started there.
Yes.
And they started there under the tuition agreement with Mohawk Trail, at which time they were considered Mohawk Trail students. They weren't considered choice. They were counted as students sitting in Mohawk Trail seats. Now, because that tuition agreement is gone, we aren't paying $13,000 a year. We're paying the choice fee for that, $5,000 plus special education costs. They are now out of Heath's enrollment number because they're choice students. So that exacerbates their issue because now they have more choice students than any other town. If as those students graduate from Holloman and new families come in, especially those who need transportation, they will go to, the hope is that they will go to Coleraine because we don't provide any more transportation from Heath to Holloman. That's not Mohawk Trail's job.
Or to Row.
No, or to Row. We never did for Row, but we did for Holloman during the time of the tuition agreement.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So it's it. All right, well, thank you very much for your thoughts.
Yeah.
And we will take those back.
All right,
Good luck.
thank you.
Thanks so
much.
Thanks for working on it.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
All right, moving on back to our agenda. We have the Conservation Commission acceptance of resignation and the town's appeal for a new member. Commission member Jim Egan has stepped down. I would make a motion to accept his resignation with the utmost appreciation for what he's done.
Second it?
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. I would also ask that any interested residents to submit a letter or an email of interest to the town clerk or the Conservation Commission. The police station disposition, the request for proposal status update. So we met with town council prior to this meeting. I think we hashed out some pretty good information on moving forward with the RFP. Town council will be heading the charge for putting that RFP together at this point in time. And we are hoping to have that together, what'd she say, middle of next month?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
so, and having it ready to go out for, out to bid at that point in time. Anything you wanted to add to that, Heather?
No, I think that sounds like a very good timeline.
Mhm.
It gets information back to the board mid to late March. It allows you to make some decisions going into your annual town meeting.
Yep. Okay. Documents to sign. We have the District Local Technical Assistance Project request form to review and identify priorities for projects that the Franklin Regional Council of Governments could assist us with in the coming year using direct local technical assistance grant funds. Is that something that all of us are going to be signing, or just me?
No, this is more of
Or just a heads up
just a heads
that
up.
it's coming?
Okay.
If there are any particular areas that you would like us to focus on, that you see listed on that form, please let me know. I've circulated it to the other boards and committees, in particular planning board. These are the funds that the planning board uses every year to work with Megan and Peggy Sloan in the past on our zoning bylaw amendments. It provides, really important technical support for that committee, but there are certainly other committees as well that could benefit from the resources, including yours. So if there's anything there that you think you want to take advantage of, please let us know.
Thank you.
At the end here was sort of culvert assessments, waiting list is, I see we're down for fall 20, what's that about?
That is inventory, or taking the existing inventory of all of our culverts
Ooh, I like
and
that idea.
updating it for high risk,
Mm-hmm.
what they call high-risk stream crossings, and just maintaining that spreadsheet, that database of the culverts.
Okay. Thank you. We have one permit here for the Mohawk Athletic Association, their bridge dinner permit application. Apparently Jennifer is an overachiever and already has her street use permit for the bridge dinner. The event date on that is going to be July 28th. So we have to accept it, and then it's also going to be accepted by the state, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Does Shelburne have to do it too?
Yeah,
I
so,
believe, yes.
so in the motion that I have taken a moment to prepare for you, it does indicate that the motion would include your acknowledgement that I would be applying for a bridge closing permit through Mass DOT's portal, but pending approval from the town of
Yes,
Shelburne.
I see you did it really well here.
Yeah.
Now, sidewalks are still open though during the dinner,
Sidewalks
right?
are still open.
Yeah.
Yes.
At least one of them.
I've got news on that.
One of them might have a little bit of a drop off, but,
Your feet get wet when you walk inside.
so I would make a motion to approve the permit application for the Mohawk Athletic Association's 24 Bridge Dinner event scheduled for July 28th, 2024, and to authorize the town administrator to pursue a bridge closing permit from the Mass Department of Transportation pursuant to the approval of the same event permit by the Shelburne Select Board.
It's your turn, Larry.
Oh, is it? Oh, I second that.
All right, any further discussion? Bearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
We have the minutes from January 11th. I've had a chance to review them. Have you guys?
Yes.
That was a long one.
Yes.
It was. Mary put in the overtime for that one. Make a motion to approve the select board meeting minutes from January 11th. The meeting that was postponed from January 9th.
Second that.
Okay, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Also make a motion to approve the accounts payable and payroll warrants for January 19th.
So I'll second that.
Further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Items not reasonably anticipated by the chair, 48 hours in advance. I have nothing. Select board member concerns?
Excuse me, I have a question. Where could I get the minutes of where could I read the minutes of the meeting that you had that I missed? Because I didn't know
Oh, our January 11th meeting?
yeah.
We just approved them, and so the board will sign them, and I can make you a copy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Otherwise, they'll be uploaded to the website soon, but this is,
Yeah, right,
a copy downstairs will be faster.
yeah.
All right.
I have a question. So I was at the COA meeting, and they approved also for next year $750 towards acoustic improvements in that room. But it was also brought to them about where they wanted the official posting place. And, you know, they wanted it to stay where it is. But I have a question, if it would help Upper Buckland residents, is there a place in the library that, it wouldn't be official, but that meeting postings could be put up there? Is there a place there, or?
There is, I know that's where the fire district posts things, but the library.
So that is one of our posting locations for the annual town meeting warrant.
Okay.
We can certainly forward postings that we receive and request that they be put up on the bulletin board in the foyer. You know, they would be doing so as a courtesy, and that, I mean, but there's no harm in forwarding them.
No, I know it's not official, but
Yeah.
I just thought it'd be helpful if someone's
Yeah.
going to the library.
Yeah.
they
I'm not
can
sure how much space they have. Sometimes we have a significant amount of
I know,
postings out
I
on
know.
that
Just a
board.
question, I thought I would bring it over,
Yeah.
that's all.
Well, actually, I think it's really helpful to put it in the two-town news, which I thought is a great project.
The problem is that the two-town meetings get posted 48 hours in advance, and the two-town news
For monthly.
Oh, right, yeah.
is monthly. So some of our more regular meetings, we could certainly publish, we could get the select board's monthly schedule to the two-town news. They meet the second and fourth Tuesdays unless there's a holiday or
Yeah.
Barring weather.
weather. But
Right.
I think it would be a challenge for us to post the
Oh, right, yeah.
the other committees, because they just, their deadline is so much, and I point to you as the two-town news representative.
Well, yes, the 21st of the month, and I know I was talking with Alicia downstairs, and she, this time, was submitted information about early voting, about dog licenses, so,
That's right.
you know, I want Buckland to have as much as Shelburne has on the two-town news, so
Yeah.
I encourage people to submit to them, but,
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
no.
All right. Town administrator's report.
So I went to the Mass Municipal Association's annual meeting and trade show this past week. It was really, as usual, a great opportunity to catch up with colleagues from across the state. We go to some great outbreak sessions sponsored by the MMA. One was on vibrant downtowns, another was on fiscal policies. But the reason I really want to share this is that Allison Cornish, our climate coordinator, the position that is sponsored through the Municipal Vulnerability Program grant, which is basically a climate-based grant, or a municipal resiliency grant, easy for me to say, was able to attend as well. And the entire focus of the conference this year was on MVP work in climate change and how municipalities can better respond to. And they had some fantastic speakers, and I was just really grateful that Allison had the opportunity to attend, and that she was able to, she wrote a very nice note, basically acknowledging that how did she say it? Impressed with the commitment and dedication of all of the people that she met, and that she is very anxious to understand the needs of Buckland from a climate perspective, and feels really recharged and organized and ready to bring those thoughts back. So it's about a $500 cost for the town to send both of us to that conference, but the amount of opportunity that you come back with is really significant. And I just, long-winded way of saying thank you for supporting that. Thank you for making that a priority for the community. I can't tell you the number of people that came up to me and said, Buckland has a climate coordinator, because it's, again, one of those positions that you would expect as a matter of course in some of the larger communities, but it's really unique for a town this size. But given how vulnerable we are, it really makes sense that we have somebody who's helping coordinate these efforts. And knowing that it's Allison, and knowing her commitment, and knowing that the board and the finance committee and the residents support it is just huge, huge credit to the town. So that's my pitch on that. Thank you. On the back side of that, the town, you heard Natalie earlier allude to the $20,000 that the town of Buckland has received for disaster relief, specifically for flooding. The events of July of 2023 were the catalyst for these funds. $20,000 is not going to replace any culverts. It is not going to even complete the design and engineering to replace any of the culverts. It's not even going to maybe pay for the materials to replace the culvert. However, it is money that we can now use to start looking at the culvert on Elm near Pine that we've addressed here before, that we know is at risk. The engineer from DHB and I attended a couple of workshops Monday and Tuesday, or Monday and today, about some funding that's available through DER for design. And we're looking to maybe use that $20,000 as some seed money for that, knowing that that's our priority right now. I will bring you back some more information as that progresses, but I wasn't kidding when I said that I've already pretty well got it spent. But I think that we all know that that culvert is a priority, and it's nice to have some money to be able to put towards it.
Get it fixed, or I can't come down.
Understood.
Maybe you want me to stay up there. Never mind.
No,
We know your struggles with Zoom, Larry, so we want you here.
We also received the additional Chapter 90 money that is called Fair Share. It's based on the miles of road versus population and per capita. That $116,000, the recommendation of the Finance Committee is that that money be held in reserve to offset the cost of the sand and salt shed project. So that is another influx of cash for that project. But I do want to make sure that the board endorses the use of the money in that way. Clint happened to be at the Finance Committee meeting when they were discussing this. And Clint, do you have anything you maybe want to?
I got dragged into that meeting.
You did get dragged in.
No, I mean, I think it's a very good idea. We've got a lot of projects that still need to be addressed, and I wasn't lying when I said we'd be coming back and looking for that money for the salt shed when we move it over to the rack. So here we are.
What was that amount of money again?
$116,000.
115 or 116?
116.
So hopefully we're on track to be able to get it to where,
Yeah.
theoretically it's not going to cost taxpayers anything more.
And then we could unload that building?
Yeah. Don't get me
Yeah.
started, but yes, yes.
We can start looking into that.
Yes, yeah. And we had a meeting with the school superintendent this afternoon. This is a monthly check-in meeting. She did not have great news on the upcoming FY25 budget. They are expecting an increase of approximately 7% for the local contributions. Their budget subcommittee was meeting again tonight, and they are working as hard as they can to get that number lower. The 7% is certainly without looking at the budget in its totality, which we're not ready for. I can't say it's insurmountable, but it certainly will have an impact on your general government services.
And I still think we have probably the largest number of students, or the biggest amount of students at Mohawk and Buckland Shelburne, so that didn't change from last year, so
No,
that
no.
affects us greatly.
Dramatically.
Yes.
Dramatically. We, the Finance Committee meets again tomorrow night. We'll work through another chunk of the budget, and again, we hope to have something to you by the end of February.
Now, is that, a lot of that increase to do with their other funding that ended?
That, as long as a combination of, they've had some increase to their special ed costs, where they have some students that are just unable to use the services within the school district, and it will be likely better able to thrive outside of the district.
And that's expensive.
And that's expensive.
Yeah, it is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, we want all of our students thriving,
Yep.
and it's very hard to put a dollar amount on a child's success.
Yeah.
But yet, here we are with dollars on it. So, I think that's,
What was the money that they had?
They had a
That was-
$900,000 grant. It was, we
That's
just read,
a-
it was last year, it was this year. This is the last year of it, I think. Yeah.
What was that, do we know what that grant was for?
I forgot. But that was by for 4 years.
Right. But now, now that the grant is up, now they're looking at trying to save those programs that they brought in, or added
Yes.
staffing or whatever. I think that's something that they need to, in my opinion, take a very serious look at. With the grant money gone, the towns can't afford to pick up that tab. And I think, with staffing or whatever it is that they use that funding for, should be getting a hard look at going away.
That's why I mentioned it when I mentioned that the increase right there. And it's non-classroom
Yeah.
people that were added to, so, something we have to look at.
Right.
So, and the last thing I have is that I spoke with the chair, the co-chair of the planning board, John Gould, today, and he has brought to my attention that their short-term rental bylaw is ready for your review and consideration.
Oh,
And if it's okay, I'll schedule them for the next select board meeting so they can bring that and you can have a discussion about it. After your review and comments, they would then move to public hearing in preparation for inclusion on the town meeting warrant.
Wonderful.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
So, yeah,
Will we get paperwork before that to prepare?
I guess.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
So that's gonna be the 13th, you're scheduling for February 13th.
February 13th.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that sounds great.
All right. That's it?
That's it. I love that.
Sorry, is that all you have this
No,
evening,
no.
Heather?
No, is there anything more you
Yeah.
want to say?
Well, no, because I know there's always more
I
that you
could, I
want to
could, I
say.
could go on, I could go on for,
Look what you've done.
it's been a very busy start of the new year. We're all bringing our A games and, things are happening, so.
Excellent. All right. Public comment.
Oh, yes, of course.
Lynn?
Well, I'm here because for the first 20 minutes I was at home. Sorry about that. The sound was garbled. And so I came down here so I could hear what was going on. So in the future, maybe on Saturday or Sunday when they play this meeting, I'm not sure if that garbled can be corrected or not, or if the audience for 20 minutes or so and only see the room and the chairs, but no sound.
I don't think the microphones, this gentleman's been filling in for them and so, for the people who usually do it, and I don't think these are on, were they, at first?
They weren't, and
No.
not necessarily Falls Cable we were in the middle of an executive, so
Yeah.
they didn't have the opportunity to come in and
Yeah,
get
so
set up.
that-
So when I noticed that we didn't have the microphones, I was able to
Thank
take
you,
them
and
off.
that's a
Yeah.
good thing to explain.
But that's nice
Yeah.
to remember ourselves too, that if we have an executive session and it's gonna go back
I didn't
out.
intend to go out
No,
tonight.
we appreciate it, Lynn, it keeps us on our toes.
Hey, well, thank you very much. Okay, or tongue in cheek, wait. Okay, I did have a question, and here it is, because you mentioned the executive committee meeting, I guess, with the legal counsel. So can you come forward to the public with either of the two court documents that have been filed there pertaining to the former chief? Can you give the public any
This
information?
wasn't about that. This
Oh, okay.
was
Yeah,
about-
we were only,
Get that.
Yeah, no, yeah, thank you for
Can
asking
you bring
about that.
anything forward about the current status?
I can.
Yeah, she
Oh, thank you very
possibly, I was
much.
gonna say, I
yes.
All I can say is that we've heard from our counsel.
Yes.
They have filed some motions of discovery, and we are going to, the board will meet, will continue to meet, and see that process through. That's really all I can advise, is that we are continuing to respond as our counsel requests.
I respect
So,
that, thank you.
Yeah.
So yes, it is still ongoing, so we're still working through it.
Do you have something to offer, Karen?
Okay.
No, actually, I will ask about the early childhood portions. I know that you offer pre-K3 and pre-K4, right, at the elementary school? Or-
I believe there is, yes. Yep.
I was a Head Start teacher the very first year of Head Start, 1965. Was the year-round program. I wasn't in the summer program. And I happened to have a reunion, ironically, when that first class graduated high school. And it was partly because the mental health consultant for the Head Start program was still consulting to the Cambridge Public Schools. And he said, oh, you know, they're all graduating, you could have a reunion. And so that was in, I forget exactly what year it was. But I had also, after I was the Head Start teacher, I came back after a graduate program and I actually ran the Head Start program. But what was so interesting to me is how the Head Start program at that time was not well funded, and we always advocated for more funding for the teachers. We were paid pretty small stipend. But the statistics were just amazing. Every kid graduated from high school. There were no dropouts. None of the girls were pregnant. And many of the girls, and everybody was going on to some kind of secondary education. Many of them got scholarships. I remember one of the students got into a full scholarship at Wellesley College, and she was from a family of in poverty with a lot of kids. And I remember her mother saying, I can't believe they're giving more money to my daughter to go to college than they give me to support all of these kids. And I think part of the reason why this girl turned out so well was that her mother sent her and her brother to live with her mother, who was living in subsidized senior housing. Anyway, and then they had done films about the program that first year Yeah. No, it was not the first spring, but the following year, which was year-round. We were part of a research project where they came in and it was on teacher styles, and they would just show up and they would give you some materials. It was balloons in one case, and the other one were 4 masks, 2 black and 2 white. And I had borrowed, VU Film School had done this project. And I contacted them and I said, do you still have those films? And they said, oh yeah. And so I borrowed them and I showed them at this reunion. And then I contacted VU and I said, well, you know, you want me to give them back? And they said, oh, we've already gotten rid of them all. We don't want them back. So I took them and I had them made into CDs. And it is amazing that one of the kids in that class, I have since found out, he not only, I knew already, he was a very bright kid. He had already gone on to, he had graduated from high school, and he went to undergraduate at a state school. And I remember I used to go to check on how he was doing because his mom was now working at a Bradley store or something, and I used to go get in line and ask her what he was doing. But so he went on to school. He went on and got his doctorate degree, and then through a weird, my point is that it is so valuable and that they need to have really good programming and all of that kind of thing. And they used to say that they finally made kindergarten a requirement to be offered. But what I'm finding out is that they're still very, the Head Start programs, they're still being very underfunded. And one of the things that I changed when I became director was they said that if there was the contract that the previous agency had written said that if it was a snow day, they still had to show up at the site. Well, they were mothers, you know, a lot of them, the teachers had young children of their own or school-age kids. And so I changed that one. And then I recently heard that they still have that. They want people to write that into their contract. So, I mean, I just think that there is so much value in spending money on young children. And I think that's been shown in a lot of different ways. But I just want to make sure that those programs are really well delivered and the kind of curriculum that they have, like the Perry Preschool Project.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Announcements and upcoming meetings. Our next select board meeting is going to be Tuesday, February 13th at 5:30, pending weather. Apparently we have to throw that in these few months. And then following that will be February 27th at 5:30, pending weather. With that said, I would accept a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
All right. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, and have a good evening.